What if the most damaging wounds you carry aren't visible? Emotional abuse affects a major portion of the population in the world, silently stealing joy, confidence, and identity. It's time to recognize these signs before it's too late. Hello everyone, it's Anisha Nassali here to dig into the real forces that shape our most important bonds. Right now, about 1 in 3 people live with emotional abuse without even realizing it. From childhood rejection and harsh words to partner manipulation, psychological harm is all around us. Yet it leaves no physical bruises, no scars you can show. The damage runs deep inside your mind in the way you think, feel, and trust yourself. Today, I'm going to unmask 7 shocking signs of emotional abuse that most of us miss. Stick with me till the end to find out if you or someone you know has been living in this unseen cage. Sign number 1, the mood trigger. You start a normal chat about work or a movie, and suddenly he changes. His smile fades, his voice goes sharp, and you're left guessing what you did wrong. You might have just made a harmless joke or simply asked a question, but in his mind, you crossed the line. This kind of swift shift puts you on edge. Your body learns to scan every single twitch, every tone change, ready for the next outburst. You carry a tightness in your chest, a feeling that any second could bring another storm. According to psychologists, this is known as hypervigilance, and it keeps your stress hormones pumping all day long. Over time, you pick up patterns, certain words, certain looks, even certain days of the week. You start walking on eggshells, changing how you speak or you behave just to avoid the certain snap. What feels like a loving partner on good days turns into a silent threat on others, and you end up trying to predict moods instead of enjoying simple conversation. Sign number 2, the boundary eraser. At first, you might think it's sweet that he cares so much. He dives into your feelings, asks every detail, wants to know your every thought. But soon, you notice he treats your emotions as if they belong to him. Your excitement about a project becomes his bragging point. Your worries about family end up on his social media feed like they're his story alone. When boundaries blur like this, you lose the sense of where you end and he begins. You stop knowing which feelings are yours. You learn to apologize for your honest reactions because his feelings always come first. Friends tell you that it's intense, but in a good way. Inside though, you feel trapped. Many people raised in families that shove adult problems onto kids know this feeling too well. You grow up believing that other people's emotions matter more than your own. Then you carry that habit straight into your romantic life. You cancel plans, you skip events, even change your hobbies just to keep him calm. But a healthy relationship lets both people keep some space for their own lives. Sign number 3, the emotional desert. It's not always about what someone says. Sometimes it's what they don't say. You tell him you got promoted at work or that a dear friend of yours is sick and he barely looks up. You need a shoulder to cry on, you get a distraction. Oh, okay, before he scrolls through his phone again. That silent neglect leaves a special kind of ache. You learn that your happiness, your pain, your whole inner life isn't worth his full attention. Over months or years, you start to believe your feelings don't matter. You stop sharing news. You withdraw because why bother? Scientists have found that emotional neglect in childhood rewires their entire brain. When a child's tears go unnoticed, they learn to tuck away their feelings. As adults, they struggle to name even the basic emotions. If you grew up with that neglect, you may feel like a ghost in your own life, always there, but never fully seen or heard. Sign number 4, the reality distorter. You saw the text, you heard the promise, yet every time you mention it, he insists it never happened. You remembered it wrong, he says. That conversation never took place. This steady denial is more than forgetfulness. It's invalidation. It makes you question your own mind. You start second-guessing every memory. Maybe you did mishear him. Maybe you are too sensitive. It's gaslighting. The more you hear it, the more you doubt yourself. That's why nearly 30% of adults had caregivers who dismissed their feelings or memories as kids. When your sense of reality gets shattered so often, you learn to rely on the abuser to tell you what's true. And once you depend on them for basic facts, it's hard to break free. Before I share the other 3 signs, let me know if you're getting value so far by sending a hug in the comment section. Sign number 5, the poison joke. He laughs about it later, calls it a joke, but the words cut deep. Maybe he quips about your weight or your job. Maybe he teases you about saying dumb things right in front of your friends. When you look hurt, he rolls his eyes. Lighten up, he says. Why can't you take a joke? These little digs add up fast. Each time you laugh it off. But what you're doing there is you're teaching him that putting you down is safe. When you show upset, he blames you for ruining the fun. Friends shrug it off. He was just teasing. You end up the night wondering if you were overreacting. In reality, these insults are emotional landmines. You never know exactly what will set him off, but you know something is always waiting to make you feel small. And the worst part is, it's easy for everyone else to miss the pattern. Sign number 6, the label maker. Sometimes names can hurt worse than fists. He calls you crazy, selfish, useless. He sticks those labels on you so often that you start hearing them in your own head. You believe that you really are too much trouble. Negative words stick, but researchers call it the negativity bias. One harsh insult outweighs the dozens of kind words. If you were told as a child that you were clumsy or stupid, you carried that voice into every classroom and job interview. Now he hands you fresh insults to reinforce that old shame. When someone you trust rewires your identity, they steal your power. You shrink yourself just to avoid the next label. But remember, labels describe behavior, not whole people. You are more than the words, the worst words someone ever threw at you. Sign number 7, the love withdrawer. One day, he's all over you, texting you sweet nothing. The next day, he vanishes. No calls, no replies, no explanations. When you finally get in touch, it's like you never mattered. Then he's warm again, a brief reward for your patience. This push-pull is deliberate. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement. It taps into our deepest need for connection. We'll all do almost anything to earn back affection that flickers on and off. Studies find nearly half of people in relationships face this cycle at some point because love feels so absent one moment and so intense the next. You chase him like an addict. You change who you are to stay in the sweet spot. You start believing that his love is the only thing holding you together. If any of this felt too real, don't brush it off. Emotional abuse is real. And if you've been through it, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been strong for too long. If this video made you feel seen, please share it. Someone out there needs to hear this too. Leave a comment if any of this hits home. You are not crazy. You are not alone. And if you want more honest talk about toxic love and healing, hit the subscribe button. You don't have to keep surviving. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve peace.